everyone, welcome back to day 17. So yesterday we started telling time to the nearest 5 minutes. Today we're going to be telling time to the nearest minute. Our I can statement for day 17 is, I can tell time using an analog clock to the nearest minute. Now, before we get started, there are some vocabulary terms that we need to talk about. The first term that we need to learn in 3rd grade is what half past means. So half past is 30 minutes. For example, 6:30 would be 6:30. 8:30 would be 8:30. So half past is your 30 minutes. You're going halfway around the clock, and that's at the 30-minute mark. Okay? Now, remember yesterday we talked about how we count by 5 minutes when we're at our numbers on our clock. For example, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. We are now halfway around the clock. 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. And remember, it starts back over at 0 when we reach the 12. So half past, you're halfway around the clock, or you're at the 30-minute mark. All right, quarter. A quarter is 15 minutes. So if it's quarter after, that means it's a quarter after the hour. It's 15 minutes after that hour. For example, if it is a quarter after 4, it is 4:15. It's 15 minutes after 4, okay? Remember, a quarter is 15 minutes. Quarter after 5 would be 5:15, quarter after 6, 6:15, and so on. The other term that you need to learn in 3rd grade is quarter till. So remember, quarters are 15 minutes. If it is a quarter till, that means it's 15 minutes until the next hour. So if it's a quarter till 10, it's really 9:45. If it's a quarter to 11, it's 10:45. So when it says quarter past, you're 15 minutes past the hour. If it's quarter till, you're needing to get 15 minutes to reach the new hour, okay? All right. So we're going to talk about what do the small lines or tick marks on the clock represent. Well, we just discussed how when you're reaching your numbers, we're counting by 5. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, and remember it starts back up at 12 at 0 minutes. So what do these small lines in between the clock tick marks represent? Well, they represent 1 minute. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to pull up this clock right here instead of labeling them all the way. But notice how when you're reaching your 1, 2, 3, you're counting by 5s. You've reached that 5 mark. And in between, each mark is worth 1 minute. So if we were to label this clock and go all the way around, like they've done in this clock, it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way around until you get to 59, and then it's 60. But remember, when we're telling time, it starts back over in o'clock. All right, so we're going to practice labeling or marking time from a digital clock onto our analog clock. Yesterday, we talked about how the hour hand is the shorter hand and the minute hand is the longer hand. We're going to represent the time 10:27 on this clock. All right, the first thing that you need to do is represent your hour hand, okay? So the hour hand's the shorter hand. We know that in our digital clock, the hour is reading 10. So I'm going to draw a shorthand going to 10. Our minute hand is representing 27 minutes. Where does 27 minutes fall on this clock? Well, let's figure it out. The first thing I'm going to do is label my clock by 5. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. And I'm going to pause here because I know my time is 27 minutes. Now, where does 27 actually land on this clock? Well, remember that the tick marks in between represent 1 minute. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and so on. We could keep going until we reach 27. Oops, that's 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. I know that my 27th minute is right there. So I'm going to draw my minute hand, the long hand, down to touch that 27. I have now represented the time 10:27 on my clock. Let's practice another one. Here is a tip, and we talked about this yesterday. When the hour hand is between two numbers, go with the smaller number because it is not past the number before. So remember how yesterday I was teaching you that if the hour hand, notice that it's not quite touching the 4, but it's not touching that 5 yet, so it hooks back to the smaller number, okay? That's what that tip means. Now let's represent our time. The hour hand's already given to us. It's showing 4, and it's a little bit past 4 because it's not exactly 4 o'clock. Remember, we watched how that hour hand slowly moves towards the next hour as time is passing in minutes. We've represented our hour. Now let's represent our minutes. The minute hand is the long hand. We're representing 13 minutes on our clock. I'm going to label my benchmark numbers first, 5, 10, 15, 20, and I'm going to pause there. It is 4:13, so I want to draw my minute hand to reach 13 minutes. Remember, the spaces in between on your clock, the tick marks represent 1 minute. So if this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I can stop there because I want to represent 13. I'm going to draw my minute hand out to my 13, and I have now represented 4:13. All right, we're going to practice with 2 more, and then you're going to have some to do by yourself. Remember, your hour hand is your shorthand, your minute hand is your long hand. I want to represent 6:35 first. 6 is my hour, 35 are my minutes. My hour hand is my shorthand, so first I'm going to draw my hour hand. I can see that 6 and 7 are here, so my hour hand's going to go in between 6 and 7. All right, now let's represent our minutes. Where are 35 minutes on this clock? Well, I'm going to label my clock. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. Remembering that the space in between, the tick marks in between, represent 1 minute. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you would keep going all the way around. But we're not going to do all that because the time that we're trying to show is 6:35. And lucky for us, that's already a benchmark. So I can go ahead and draw my minute hand out to 35. I have now represented 6:35 on my clock. Let's do one more together. I'm going to erase. Let's represent 8:55, sorry. Remember, the hour comes first, and these are our minutes. The hour is the shorthand, the minutes are the longhand, so my hour is 8. Well, I can see that 55 is going to be over here if I label my clock. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, and this is going to start my new hour up here. 55 minutes is all the way over here on this clock, so it's almost the new hour. So when I draw my hour hand, yes, it's 8, but it's almost 9. So I'm going to make sure that my hour hand is almost touching the 9, but not quite. Now that I've labeled my clock, I can show 55 minutes. This clock shows 8:55. Notice that my hour hand is almost at the 9, but it's not quite touching, so it's going to hook back to that 8 because it has not passed into the new hour. Notice my hour hand is pointing to my hour, the short hand. My minute hand is the long hand, and it's pointing to my minutes. For your practice today, you're going to have several clocks that you are going to have to read, analog clocks. You need to make sure you are writing the times down in your notebooks, and then send a picture of your work to your teacher. If you have any questions, reach out to your teacher and they'll be glad to help you. Have a great rest of your day.